And I knew it would. You know, we talked yesterday that these guys aren't supposed to watch bass fly. That's right, but they are.
Hi, I'm Dave Lefebre. I just finished 6th in the Ross Barnett Elite Series Tournament and had a great time in Mississippi. I love this place. I hope we come back. But I wanted to show you what I caught them on. Every fish that I weighed in was either on a chatterbait, some type of homemade chatterbait, or a swim jig. This is the Terminator swim jig. Never miss a fish on this jig. It's been my go-to swim jig for a real long time. It's got a light wire hook on it. When one bites it, it sticks to it and it's in the boat. When we're fishing for big giant fish in heavy cover, I just throw this homemade one, and it's basically the same exact thing, except for it's got a big thick wire on it. So it's just a standard cone-shaped head, something that'll come through the cover good. Big craw. You know, this tournament was we got every conceivable weather obstacle thrown at us. I mean, we had tornadoes yesterday. The tournament got postponed. Championship Sunday turned into Championship Monday. We had wind directions changing. We had gusts up to 50 miles an hour this week. Every day it was windy. We got a ton of rain and rough water, muddy water, and changing conditions. It made it terribly tough. If we would have hit it on stable weather, this place would have really showed up big time. There's a ton of fish in here. So those are my two swim jigs. This one I just like it in open water. I like it because I'm gonna hook the fish on it. When I was throwing between the lily pads, I would throw this one, you know, in the big holes. When I was throwing it closer to the mats when the sun got up, I would throw this one. This one I'm throwing on 17-pound Suffolk Invisalign fluorocarbon, and this one I'm throwing on 65-pound Suffolk Advanced 832 braid. So difference in those two swim jigs. Chatterbaits I was throwing, I'm actually real excited to show you the ones, but you can't get them yet. But these are just ones that I caught them on. In the muddier water, a lot of times I like a craw like this one, and I also had a more subtle one. There was places where the water was a little bit clearer, or places where I was catching multiple fish, and I would just switch between the two. This is a Zako from Yamamoto, the best overall chatterbait trailer on the market. And like I said, I like a little vibration sometimes when the water gets muddier. And when we got all that rain and the tornadoes and stuff, but my buddy Bart at Rapala sent me some of these just to check out. We're kind of calling them a scatter jig right now, but I'm not sure what they're going to be called. But you can see it's a different type of deal, and I was a little leery because I didn't know if these were production ready or not. You can see how inside the plastic, all the metal and everything, so I was worried about. I actually texted him to see if these were strong enough, and he says, yeah, give it a go. So anyway, yesterday on the last day of the third day of the tournament, I had 4 fish with like a few minutes to go. Ran to a place, I had this rigged up, and I ran back in there. My 2 chatterbaits were tangled together, so I grabbed this, threw it out one time, and caught my 5th fish. So that obviously got me excited to fish on Championship Monday. Got out there on Monday and ended up using this to catch every single fish that I weighed in on the final day. So got me almost 13 pounds. I was losing tons of fish this week. I missed or lost 50 bass on day 2. On day 1, I weighed 18.4, and I lost a 6-pounder at the boat and multiple 4-pounders, probably 3 in the 4-pound range. So they weren't hitting it good around the spawn. That's typical, especially with a chatter type bait like this. Scatter jig's no different. I probably missed 6 or 7 today, I think, but one of them was a giant, over 5 pounds. And you're just going to have that. That's part of the game. I can't get them to bite anything else. They'll bite the swim jig. sometimes. But like I said, the water got blown out. This thing has an incredibly wide wobble. I mean, it's just totally different. I put a bigger craw on there, a fuller skirt. It's real bright and gaudy in the water. Has a much wider wobble than a normal, original chatterbait type of deal. So moves a lot of water, and it works, and I'm pretty excited about it. Whenever you hit muddy water like the Red River, any of the Mississippi River places and all those pools where it gets really bad, sometimes the Potomac River, James River, I think this thing's going to play eventually. But anyway, that's the scatter jig. So the rod that I was using, obviously these are Concept E reels. I still use the A's, you guys know that by now. This is the workhorse, I call it. This rod right here is a 7.3 medium heavy, Muse black, and it's one that I designed. I like it for spinner baits, tight casting, doing some accurate stuff. It's a multi-purpose rod. It's a 7.3 medium heavy, and it's really good for chatterbait fishing too. I mean, it's just got a lot of forgiveness. The rod bends when you get one. I've always liked a lighter action rod with a chatterbait, so that's what I was using. I would get them caught up in those lily pads, and I just didn't have enough manpower to get them to break those lily pads off and just move the line enough to get a good hookup. So the big change that I made was I switched to a 7-11 heavy with this bait, scatter jig, with my chatterbaits, with my swim jigs, everything. Got rid of the 7.3 medium heavies and went to 7-11s. With the chatterbait, that's probably not the smartest thing to do as far as catching fish, getting them hooked. So I was sacrificing, like I said, I got a lot more bites, but once one of those big ones grabbed it and I set the hook into them, I could move a lot more water, and I just had a lot more leverage on them, and I think that made a big difference. Another thing that I figured out on the last day of practice was, instead of just throwing this out through the pads, I was really focusing on making those accurate casts through those little lanes in the lily pads, and I was moving my rod back and forth. Even if I was in a wide open hole and no lanes, I would still do that 90-degree turn of the bait going through the water, and that's what I did every day to trigger those bigger fish, and it was key for me making the top 12 cut. Something you might want to try if you get into this type of situation, super heavy lily pads, muddy water, whatever. But had a great time. Moved up in the Angler of the Year points all the way up to 4th place. So after starting in 88th, I'm real happy about that, and can't wait to go on to the next one. We're fishing Sam Raven for Bassmaster. So talk to y'all later. Out.